Welcome to the Secret Art of Business, and today I have Davia Ward. Davia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Have not had anybody in your field, so I am really excited to kind of tap into this a little bit more. So you are a professional medical biller. Um, why don't you tell us about your business and what you do?
I am a virtual assistant medical billing company. I employ over 30 people all over the United States, and we're growing. We provide not only medical billing services for small and medium sized practices, we actually provide virtual assistant services, meaning if a clinic can't get to their phone to answer the phone when they schedule, we can pick up the overflow. Or these small mental health practitioners that really can't afford to employ a full time staff in their office, we can do it all virtually for them at a fraction of what it would cost to hire an employee. Not only that, we have redundancy. So if an employee goes on vacation, we can step in and fill their shoes. Or even if one of my staff goes on vacation, there's always somebody there that can answer the phones, submit your patient's claims to the insurance companies, charge their credit cards, their patient responsibilities, but be just a virtual billing office for providers that or either can't find people to fill those shoes or uh, cost is a factor.
I love that, and I especially love the add-ons that you just talked about too, where you can help answer the phone and do some other things as well. But I don't have to guess that billing has gotten more complicated too, and that's where your expertise can also come in.
It has actually, I would say some ways it's actually gotten easier. I come from the era of, I started medical billing in 1987. Before we had codes, before there was even a PPO, people just they didn't have those type of insurance plans. It was a deductible. It was
Hmm.
a lot more straightforward. They've tried to revolutionize it and make it more streamlined by adding numbers to a diagnosis, that's numbers that will stand in for other things. And that I would say it's not hard to keep up with. It's just paying attention. The insurances are really famous for releasing out updates and things that, hey, we're making these changes. The problems that the insurances don't do is when they make these changes, they forget to implement them internally. And then it causes a slowdown. Or it could be a cyber attack, or it could be policies decide not to cover this or that. It's not necessarily, I would say, harder. It's just you have to be more efficient and more organized to make sure that you're staying up to date with the changes that are coming down the pipe.
Now, your company is called Healthcare Partners Consulting, and you've been doing this for 16 years. And my question to you is, why billing? That is not, I don't think everybody's first go to when they say in high school, for example, you know what, I am going to be in billing. So what led you to where you are right now and
And
to start a company?
actually, this is where I started out. I'm from a really small town in West Texas, and I worked for right out of high school. Everybody knew everybody, and we had four doctors there. I started as their file clerk, and then I was a young mother, teenage mom, and going to school and college at that time was just not an option for me because I had to support my family. Um, those doctors trained me and moved me up. Like I said, I was doing it since 1987. Those same doctors actually sent me to nursing school. So I became an LVN in 1991, worked for the doctors in their hospital district until about 98 when I got my RN degree. Um, then in 2004, I came back to medical billing. So even though I was a nurse, there was always a part of me that when patients came in, they worry about three things. They worry about their physical, they worry about their mental, but there was never anyone in the office that seemed to care about their financial situations. They'd come in, there'd be somebody there, hand, here's your copay. I need $20 or I need this. Or worse yet, I remember being in SICU because I did open heart recovery as an
Oh,
RN,
wow.
and the billing office coming upstairs with my patient on a ventilator, the family surrounding them, wanting them to sign financial documents. That is not the time. It's they're going to sign anything. They want you gone. They want to be with their loved one.
Right.
But no one even paid attention to that. And then my mother got sick. My mother died at 55 of heart disease. The whole time when she was diagnosed from 42 to 55, it was never about the best care. It was never about, I want the best drugs. I want the best doctors. I want the best. It was always, could I afford it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can afford this medicine. I don't know if I can afford this procedure. And it just really started lighting a fire underneath me that we met someone at one of the doctor's offices that said, don't worry about it. She said, I will fight for you. You just come in, let our doctors treat you. We will fight for you and make sure your insurance, because your insurance should pay for this. And if they don't, we'll figure out something else. We'll either figure out a payment plan for you, or we'll do whatever we can to make sure you get the care that you need. She didn't have to do that. And then that huge light bulb went off that if more people or more doctors and more providers would have people in their office that truly cared about the whole cycle of the patient or the whole circle of the patient's going to come to you no matter what the cost is.
Right.
And then they're going to be more willing to talk about it to their friends and family. So that way you can get better quality patients and not worry about quantity coming through your door. I've worked with several clients and several providers that they just really couldn't afford it, no matter what we worked with them. But the one, because they really wanted to use insurance or something else. But what I loved is they went off and said, you know what, this is what's going on with you. You need to go over here and see this doctor because they know what they're doing and they will help you. I really can't afford it right now, but when I can, I'm coming over here to see him or her.
Right.
That's the best compliment that I can get, or that I think any provider can get. And that's what we strive to make sure that the patients are taken care of first.
I love that you are an advocate for this because while it may feel easy to you, I can tell you on this side of the doctor's table, it is very complicated. And to your point, you may go in with, just a checkup and you find out it's going to be more, and you don't plan for that in many cases, that that you are sick or you're going to have open heart surgery in the instance that you brought up. And that's where someone like you being an advocate is just really a godsend to a lot of people. So I love that that's part of your service too, is to fight for people, or at least be sitting on their shoulder a little bit and kind of guiding them, on the right path.
It's really important to me because people shouldn't be looking at things. Well, I guess they should look at things for cost. But when it comes to our health, especially females who have families, we put everybody before us. We never put ourselves first. So someone's got to put you first. And that's where HPC, we are a company full of women, even though my husband's a part owner. It's patient first.
Yeah, he's retired military, so he needs something to do.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention that too, that he's a retired U.S. Navy warrant officer. I was not 100% sure what that was. I'm sure my husband would know because he's all geeked out in those titles. But he's a really smart guy. It's basically what that is.
He was an enlisted. Whenever you're enlisted, as you grow up through the ranks, you can either cross over to become an officer. And there's two different paths. It's called an LDO or a warrant. He chose the warrant. He was the top 1% at that time. Wow. They only choose 2 a year or 2. Anyway, he was the top 1% of his class that was chosen to cross over.
That is incredible.
I'm him. He's super smart. Don't tell him I said that.
We won't tell him. No one will know. It's between us. Yeah, I absolutely love that because there's many facets in the military. It just involves so much knowledge. And once I saw that, I was just, you're just a regular power couple between your advocacy and what he's done for the country.
Yeah, 2 totally different personalities, 2 totally different ways of looking at things. You would think he comes up with a very analytical approach. I come from a very passionate.
Right. A lot of empathy and things like that. No, but I think that makes a great team. That forms, a really strong partnership. Granted, there are probably some challenges with conversations or things like that, but I think it's great to have full perspective on some things, and and it's worth fighting for what you believe in too, in that regard as well.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Because this is, you're welcome. Because this is just such an interesting field that you're in. I'm wondering, how did you get here? When you were a kid, what were some of the things that you did for fun that were before all the responsibility, before all of this?
Well, I remember in the 6th grade or 6th or 7th grade, we had to write our first research paper. And I wanted to be a biochemical engineer. Please, wow. I have no idea why I wanted to be that. I wanted to go to Baylor University. I have had so many things. I love to read anything science, anything mysteries, and solving puzzles and things like that. When somebody asks me why I like medical billing, because it's a big giant puzzle. And it's like I've got to fit all of these pieces together to get somebody paid. So that's the way
Absolutely.
I approach it. So the ideas of figuring out who done it. Clue was my favorite game. But yeah, I wanted to be a biochemical engineer. And then as I grew up, my father became a paramedic. He went back to school and became a paramedic late in
Oh,
life.
wow.
And I decided I wanted to be a nurse. So I was supposed to be going to be a nurse, and then life happened. I decided
Mm-hmm.
to have children, and the doctors offered me a position. Honestly, I think it may have been because of who my father was, but at the same time, the person that offered me the position at the doctor's office, his wife was my office education teacher.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
I don't know how all this plays into small town politics or whatever, but if it wasn't for everybody in the right place at the right time, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Well,
So
probably your dad was probably a pretty good guy, and they said,
I'm
well,
sure.
if it's
Yes.
his daughter, then she's probably a good person too. The apple does not fall far from the tree, as they say.
Right. But yeah, I did a lot of reading. I wasn't a very sport like kid. I was not. I was very chubby. My sisters were more the cheerleaders stuff. I was a band. I love music. I was a band geek, which all plays into the numbers and things like that I used to
Right,
love.
right. Well, it worked out really well for you. I mean,
Yes.
what whatever people say about the chubby kid that can't make the cheerleading team, you know what? It seems to work out almost better in some ways for us. I was
Definitely.
gonna, I didn't, there's no way I was gonna be on the cheerleading team either. Um, but we figured it out. We like problem solving, and we figured it out. Now you do have, let's just say, half dozen kids.
Mhm.
Actually, it is a half dozen kids. What
Yes.
do you do to unplug? Because you also did say too that moms, women in business, they tend to put other people first. You're definitely in a field that does that too. What do you do when you need to unplug?
The lucky thing is all my children are grown. My baby just turned 19 last week out
Oh,
of six. We're a blended family. Four of them are mine. Two of them are mine, but not biologically. I raised them all. I raised especially the two
sweet.
younger ones. Two are in college. Everybody else is grown. I really didn't realize the importance of unplugging um, until probably a couple of years ago
Mm-hmm.
when you just run out of energy. I'm 55 now, and trying to run a business, that if you keep your head down, time just passes you by. And then you wake up one day and like, what happened? And I had that wake up call. So what I do to unplug now is I spend actually 2 hours every morning. I get up at 5 o'clock, set my alarm. A lot of people say that they use that for meditation, but that's my
Mm-hmm.
time when I know that I, as a mother, am not going to affect anybody else because nobody else is going to get up at 5 in the morning.
Right, right.
But I have found that I love that. I get up at 5 in the morning. I meditate. I read a book that I want to read, whether it's a self help or whatever. Have my coffee with my dogs in my lap. But and then the evenings I unplug. I have learned to start turning my phone off at 5 or 6 in the evening, depending on the day. And I really don't answer any employee calls, patient calls, provider calls. After a certain time, I had to start setting boundaries. Boundaries are the hardest thing for me to do. But one of the funniest things that I do to unplug, people don't realize it, is I am a compound archer. I do competition archery. So
Oh
race
my God,
shooting.
I love that.
I travel around the eastern United States during archery season, and it's called ASA. So I shoot fake animals for points and scores. Um, yeah, almost every weekend I'm gone shooting somewhere in Georgia or North Carolina, Tennessee, shooting, and then we do regionals and stuff until the end of July, 1st of August. So my archery season is from February to August, and then from August to February is when I do my practicing, my off season.
That is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Honestly, I mean, we all had like archery class in high school, I think, and I loved it. I never really thought about pursuing it as a fun thing, but that is really fantastic.
Think it's going to be that fun. Honestly, I didn't pick it up for till 3 years ago again because
Uh-huh.
I in high school like
Oh,
everybody
those are
else.
sometimes the best hobbies.
Whole world out there and the best part about archery is everybody welcomes you in. They don't care what color you are, how old you are.
Male, female, all of
You're
that.
in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. I've got pictures of people on a wheelchair shooting those ranges, and people
Isn't that
helping them,
incredible?
pushing their wheelchairs up there to get them onto the shooting stake. So it's they welcome everybody with open arms. I've never seen a sport do that. in a way. If you're
That
not
is
big enough, you can't play football. If
fantastic.
you're not tall enough, you can't play basketball. This archery does not care.
It's
Does
yeah,
not care.
it levels a playing field, and it's all about skill, at that point. It's just basic skill. I love
And
that so
practice.
much. And hopefully in most cases you're not gonna pull a hamstring or something like that, like a lot of other sports too. It just sounds like a nice day out in the woods perhaps, and then you get to test your skill, which
The
is pretty
vitamin D,
cool.
the sunlight. We shoot in the rain. We shoot in the cold. We shoot. I guess
I
we
know.
are kind of fanatics about it, but yeah.
There's still something kind of fun about that too. I hate to say, over because it just really gets you out of your everyday. It's because like in your everyday, you're not getting rained on, you're not like bundled up with cold and things like that. So I mean, that is a great way to step away. I really, really love that. That is so
You
cool.
can't have your phones out there. You can't have a computer. There's no internet normally. It's just you and other people actually cheering each other on, conversing, talking about everything, kids, whatever. But it's just a way to really truly unplug.
That is so fantastic. Now, the one thing that you didn't mention, which I am kind of excited to bring up, is that you are on the board of directors for A Time to Dance, and you've been doing that for 10 years. What drew you to be not only on the board, but to be there for so long?
A Time to Dance, I was a secretary. A Time to Dance was a organization that was created for military families by a military spouse for their children and for adults for dance. Because as you know, or maybe you didn't know, in the military, people are moving every 2 to 4 years.
Right.
So it's hard to find a home for your children that are, if they're in the dance community or ballet or anything like that. There's always the different schools, but it's hard to find that true camaraderie. So A Time to Dance, it was created for military spouses, children, and military dependents, so that they could perform on stage, and that we would perform at military functions. My daughter used to be a part of it. That's how I became a part of it, because my daughter, Hannah, who's 20, will be 21 now, started dancing at the age of 4.
Oh, wow.
She was at Joffrey. She was with Academy de Ballet. Joy Neck is the one that came up with the Time to Dance. She has her own studio now in Virginia Beach. She's a phenomenal person. And all the ladies that I met through that organization, they really supported the arts. And that was just one thing that they found a need in the community and they decided to fill it. So yeah.
That is wonderful. And the arts too are a great sort of equalizer for people too. I know some people think like I'm not good or whatever, and it's really not about that. It's
It's
just about
not.
doing it. And it's like I always like referring to, you're trying to compare like a Renoir painting to maybe a Picasso. They are both masters, but they are so different, and you can't say one is better than the other. It is just what they made, and it somehow draws people in. It's the same thing like with dance. I mean, you can't fault somebody for just letting go and dancing, even in their kitchen. I would totally endorse that as well too. But it's just so good for us. It is really, really just good for us.
I don't have I have 2 left feet, but I so enjoy watching it, so
There's a
my,
lot of joy in just watching it too. I mean, yeah, if you're really going to be shy about it and just want to watch, I mean, like I said, it brings you, when somebody's really good, it just somehow makes you happy too. It's amazing. I just love that this is being done, and especially for the military.
my friends that I met through A Time to Dance and through the dance community are my best friends still. We're still friends
Oh,
to this day. So yeah.
well, that is fantastic. Now, I'm going to have all the information for your company in the notes, but I wanted to ask you, are you working nationwide, or are you a regional company for this?
We're nationwide. I
Oh,
have
wonderful.
clients in almost well, I do have clients in every state except Alaska. I have 30 employees all over the United States, and
Wonderful.
I'm looking to grow even more. My goal is to have an employee in every state and have a client in every state.
I love it. I love it. And maybe our listeners can help you. So if they need your service, definitely get a hold of Davia Ward, and her company again is Healthcare Partners Consulting, or HPC. And this has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. You are such a lovely person, and I love what you do. And I really hope that you grow in every state, because like I said, this is so needed, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed being here.
Thank you.